Hey everyone, thank you for joining us for another episode of In Our Humble Opinion.
Ayo.
I'm Gilbert Cheah. I am joined here again by my very opinionated friends. On my right, Daisy, cool grandma Irani.
Namaste, hello.
And on my left, Chris Henson.
Hi everyone.
No.
Unfortunately, you didn't add on
no need
the
to
other
add
one.
on anything because people can see for themselves he's handsome. Okay,
Oh,
so
you're asking for
today,
it today.
I will give you a summary of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about public nudity. We're going to talk about sex in Singapore. Does that get your attention? We're going to talk about HIV testing, COVID testing, adopted daughter, and vaccines. So let's get straight down to this. First story we have came to us from that cesspool of on the internet called Stump, where a woman, I'm assuming it was a woman, complained because she had taken a photograph of a man who was jogging wearing a pair of Speedos. And she was very upset by this and said that, why are people running around half naked? And just to make sure that her eyes were correct, she took 2 photographs of this man in his Speedos. And she said that, there are schools and kindergartens nearby, so young and vulnerable children who might be alarmed when they see this. So we're going to just quickly discuss this because to me, I'll just start off, I think it's a non-issue. I think that some people, again, this voyeurism of people armed with their phones is just going crazy. Honestly, if you actually have watched a triathlon, you'll see people running in their Speedos. And nothing wrong with that. I don't think children seeing someone running in their Speedos is going to be traumatized by that. I think they will be traumatized by a very kind of uptight attitude about the human body, which is even worse. So, cool grandma, tell me what you think.
Well, I agree with you. Why is this even a story?
Yes.
Because the question is, first of all, was he breaking the law? Well, he wasn't.
Yes.
And just to share with you, when I say the law, when I was working with MediaCorp, we had this kind of code that when the actresses came on, they used to wear fashionable clothes. They could be very low necks, or they could be transparent, or whatever.
Yes.
But the code was that the nipples should never be seen. That was a kind of code. Now, so I'm looking and I'm saying, this guy, fine, he's not breaking any law, he's not breaking any code. Then we are looking at individual sensitivity here, right?
And he's in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
He's not like,
but that's not even the point.
Yeah, not the point. You're right.
Somebody can even turn around and say, you know what, I'm not in such good shape, but I feel like wearing sexy
so what?
exercise
Yeah, exactly.
wear.
Yeah.
So where do you draw the line?
Exactly.
And
That's
about
right.
what is permissible and what is not.
Yeah,
wear.
I think the bigger issue here really is one about, people's sensitivities and why they get sensitized about something like this. Chris, hopefully you've not gone out running in your Speedos, I think.
Why
I
you
had to
say
double check the
hopefully?
picture because I was kind of worried it was me, but fortunately,
we can tell you it's not you.
yeah, I know. I look a whole lot better than that.
So you do go in your Speedos.
You miss his twerking
I don't go
viewers.
out to the road running. That's one thing for sure.
Yes.
But I want to say that first of all, it wasn't a she. It was a he.
Okay.
Which makes it even worse. Now, this guy must have probably got lots of love handles and, belly flopping all over the place. And he got jealous looking at someone who's a hell of a lot fitter. And you are right. When you go to triathlons, you do see men dressed in their Speedos running about. And what the fuck is wrong with this clown who had to take pictures full frontal?
Yep.
Take a look at that. It's a full frontal shot, man. This guy must have been turned on. I'm talking about the guy who took the damn pictures, right? Lim. And this was at Simei Road and Simei Street. Shucks, I must go there more often
No,
because.
but you know what the question is? This guy, whoever, Mr. Lim, who took the picture, we are back to the same situation of voyeurism. Should he be allowed to take these pictures of a guy just running? In fact,
Exactly.
nobody might have even noticed him.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
This
So
came up on social
yeah.
media.
I think the issue here, taking pictures of someone in public is fine. Anyone can do that because they're in public. But the thing is, trouble is a venue, an outlet like Stomp, which accepts all of these things.
Yeah.
So it really has just catered to the lowest common denominator. At one point, if you didn't have Stomp or the internet in this way, people would have to send their photographs to the newspaper, and the newspaper editor would say, no, I'm not going to
no
publish this.
way.
It's not
Yes.
a story,
Yes.
Yeah.
This
Now
is
everyone's
not a
got access
story.
to that, so
This
that
is
is the
not a-
problem there.
Stomp has become so sucky.
Yes,
It's
yes.
all about tits and asses. You know what I mean?
And
No, I just
apparently
feel-
men's bodies too.
I
No,
mean,
I just feel-
men have asses too. I'm not trying to be sexist here. Don't start that
I
shit
just
with
say
me, man.
you don't go there. This is very individual. I mean, it's about you see
Yeah,
young girls.
and you know
dressed
what? You know
up,
what I can't
but
stand? I can't
showing-
stand this
you can't
self-righteous
go there.
nature, this
Yes.
self-righteousness about the kids around. And all. Oh,
Yeah.
screw you! You know, at the end of it all, right? This guy is just going for his damn run.
Yeah,
and
and
he's
it's, Singapore's hot.
yeah.
No, but
and-
when I saw the photograph, I didn't see anything unusual.
Yes.
You see
Yep.
these kind
Yep.
of people, right?
yeah, exactly.
And even whether he's slim, whether he's fat,
But
that's not even
but
the
Daisy,
point.
don't you
He's
think
going for a
you're
job,
you're
that's
you're
all.
you're a lady? You're looking at this picture right now. What do you
Yes.
think about this guy's bod? Quite good, huh?
Yes.
Exactly, isn't it, huh?
But it's nothing to. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing to have hands on
That
pearls about.
wasn't there.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Having said that, I mean, like I said, you've seen people like that running around.
Yeah,
This
but
is
I
a-
congratulate him. And look at that Spartan belt he's got above his speedos, man.
Yeah, definitely not easy to get, as I
Yeah.
can definitely attest to it.
Fantastic, man. Keep it up, man. Keep
Yeah, keep it
dressing
up.
like that.
Keep-
Go
keep-
running,
and
man.
Keep running
Yes.
topless. No problem with that
Yeah,
from
yeah.
us at all.
What,
you know.
what about the girls?
Yeah.
I mean, they wear some real sexy.
I mean, I've seen
exercise
ladies in sports bras, and you know, and you know, and it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
fine.
You're not making
So
any laws
just
there.
let Lim know, sorry, boss, you don't go there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
He's looking
And
for
you know, I
attention.
would also like to point out to all those potential voyeurs and vigilantes out there who want to go and post stuff on Stomp. Think carefully again before you post stuff like that, okay? That you know.
We'll
unless
let you
there's
know
a
the
way
next time Gilbert goes to the swimming pool in his speedos, and you can go with your phone and take a picture of him too.
Yeah.
No more. Last week was petting, heavy petting, and now don't know speedo. I feel like
But do you swim regularly with your speedos?
in a pool. Yeah, definitely I wear speedos.
You
What
wear
else would
speedos.
You wear? Yeah.
You don't wear like swim shorts and stuff.
No. Bought those grandpa trunks are Americans wear
grandpa
like
trunks?
that.
Yes.
Americans
yes,
wear
you're right.
those. Yes.
Because you know when
Because
you
it's
came
such
to
an uptight
Singapore-
country, they can't show any.
No, but when I came to Singapore, that's the first time really when near the pool you saw these men with these really tight speedos, and that's when I got the concept.
Yeah, the
of,
majority
oh,
of
this
people
is-
in the world, actually, meaning Europe and Asia, wear speedos. And speedos is a brand, so we're
The
talking
US
about
does.
swim trunks.
No, but that style, that
yes, that
very
style.
tight
Yes.
and
Whereas in the
figure
US, they wear shorts that
Yes.
sometimes go down to the knees,
Yeah, like
which I think is
Bermudas.
absolutely ridiculous.
Why?
Yes, exactly.
I use that.
So.
I threw away my G-strings a long time ago.
Okay, when yes, public service. So thank you
No,
for that.
but
Yes.
if you want to use your G-strings, then you also let us know so there can be a bevy of people with cameras waiting.
Yes,
for
I'm
you.
sure Storm will be
man.
alerted to that.
Yes,
so
Storm will
okay,
be alerted.
yeah, more
You want to
more
see my
serious.
Christmas buns, huh?
Well,
Thank you.
well,
No,
you never
thank you.
know.
Yeah,
Let's
serious
try.
things in life, and let's go on to the next one, basically, which is COVID Alliance, which has raised $2 billion for COVID shots, and this is very interesting as well because I think that very often in a place like Singapore, we think of research and COVID research and vaccines as being the job of governments to fund. Whereas actually in other countries, and in this case, the Vaccine Alliance received $360 million from the European Commission and the Bill Gates Foundation to bring its fundraising target to revenue to $2 billion. And this is to give the doses for low and middle income countries. So it's philanthropy and altruism here, which I think is wonderful. So, in the US, for example, there have been charity appeals by universities asking people to donate money to help them fund vaccine research. And someone that I personally am a big fan of, Dolly Parton, donated $1 million for COVID research and to Vanderbilt University. And because of that, the money that was raised there, that's how Moderna actually came up with the vaccine.
Really?
It was from a grant that way. So, I think the point is that it is great that people are making their own donations and not just relying on the government, and that foundations and the governments are also donating money for poorer countries. So that is...
Is that the only reason why you're such a big fan of Dolly Parton?
I love her music.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. And she wrote the song "I Will Always Love You," which of course Whitney Houston made a huge hit.
Yeah, I know.
But it was actually written by Dolly Parton.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Mhm.
That's the thing.
But I
beautiful.
I suppose that okay, right.
Okay. I just want to add before we totally get diverted with
Why
Dolly
is he laughing?
Parton's other.
I don't know. Why am
other
I
band.
laughing?
Okay, I don't know. You
His
just
eyes are
continuously
somewhere
keep
else.
laughing.
Well, it's
Do
my
you- would you
Tourette's.
like
It's my.
Do you
yeah.
want to?
It's
Chris?
my. It's my.
So what you were saying was very
Tourette's.
important.
No, what I'm saying is that I think Singaporeans have demonstrated their philanthropy in the past year. And
Got
they're
me?
not breaking
Where?
record. You know,
Yes.
no, at least that's what I saw. Maybe you didn't see that.
No,
Chris,
enlighten
but I
me.
did.
What did they do?
No, I mean they donate.
They don't.
so
Do you know that
much money.
after they gave the grant for Singaporeans,
Correct.
that
a lot of them $600, and
Yeah.
a lot of people who did not see that they needed it.
Yes,
were very
donated it.
kind and
Yes.
they donated it.
Yeah.
But I
We
think
talked
there's
about it in an
something-
earlier show.
Yeah,
I-
there's
Okay.
something
Yeah.
else I want to add.
I think
You see,
16 million was donated.
because in this case, I think it's not only about good neighborliness and a social responsibility to those in the lower end of the spectrum. I think it's more because it just makes complete economic sense as well, because we depend on these countries
The
for
reason why-
resources, for travel. So if we know that everybody around us, even in the poorer countries, gets access to this vaccine,
Yes, yes.
it is just going to help us economically. And all over, it's a win-win.
The
Yeah,
reason
and
why
it's
I'm
not
being cynical, the reason why I'm being cynical is because I can just imagine the kind of kalbuness I'll see should this ever happen. Let's say, for instance, hypothetically, some fantastic group in Singapore say we raise this much money, we'll give it to you for this reason, for this
Yes.
purpose. Can you imagine the hundreds of idiots who is just going to go, why do we even have to do this? We should keep it for ourselves, blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely,
can
I
just
totally agree.
bloody
I will
imagine
give
that
you a
happening.
personal example which I encountered. Maybe you know this, but maybe you don't know. But for several years now, I've been helping to raise money for sick children who come to Singapore for medical care. Both mainly for Vietnamese, because there are a lot of sick Vietnamese children, and I work with a wonderful organization called Children Are Innocent, which is based in Singapore, where they raise money and they bring sick children here for medical care, and these are children that would die otherwise. Okay, and 2 years ago, Mothership did an article about me raising money for sick Vietnamese children, and the fact that I had raised so much money. And I started to get hate mail from Singaporeans
Why?
asking me why I'm raising money for foreign babies.
What?
Yes. I'll never forget this. Anonymous hate mail and comments saying that, why are you wasting your time, trying to suck money from Singaporeans for sick babies? And that really shows, I'm sure it's just a minority, but it was still very distressing to hear that there are people out there who
very
think that this
painful.
is for a
Yes,
sick child. There was one
yes.
child in particular who we were helping, saying that, they should stay in their own country. They shouldn't come here and try and get us to donate money. We should donate money of our own kind. Exactly what you're saying, So I totally agree.
But
there
you
is
know
that.
what's the
Bunch of dicks, man.
wonderful
Yep.
part is that in spite of those kind of remarks, in spite of this kind of attitude, we know there are enough in the majority who will make this happen.
Yeah.
Who will be there to give charity, to donate, to make sure that the countries which require the money get it. So, hey, we are blessed that way.
Daisy,
right?
did you see what happened just now? Did you miss that effect? Because I looked up and I thought the light was flickering. When Gilbert was talking about, what he's been doing for sick children and all that. And I thought, but then I realized it was this halo kind of aura behind
Full of
him.
nonsense again.
But what
Yeah, it was-
about
really,
didn't it stretch
it was
across
like-
my head as
I
well?
feel like
No,
a
didn't it
devil,
stretch
the
across
devil
my head?
incarnate sitting next down to this
The
next
point
next to the
basically
saints,
is
man.
that we all do what we
We all
can.
do, exactly.
And there are, even if you do good things, you're going to get a couple of idiots out there.
No.
which are like-
I'm just
Which is
yanking your
fine.
chain,
No, but
man.
which is
I'm
fine,
just
yeah.
yanking your
But-
chain, but good stuff,
No,
dude.
but isn't it good to always have that minority that keeps talking? So what? It's water off a duck's back.
You know the sad part is when you're online and you read shit like this,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like a minority. I mean,
Yes,
probably
exactly.
is. It likely
Yeah,
is.
it is,
But
yeah.
you see a couple of hundred idiots
Yeah,
being
yeah.
absolute dickheads,
Exactly.
writing
This
shit
is the problem,
on the
really,
walls.
is the
Really?
amplification of a small number of people.
You see,
Yes,
your England
yes, yes.
terror,
And
lah,
then,
brother. It is
you know.
amplification, lah. My
But you
xiao
know,
That's the
xiao.
problem.
I
Yeah.
would like
Yeah.
to share a story about the positive side of social media. Can I do that now?
Oh,
It's
boy.
perfect timing to talk about.
Okay.
Okay, so we know there's toxicity and we know it's used in this kind of way
Yes.
which hurts.
Yes.
But this is a story about regret, a story about pain, a story about wanting to heal and make amends, and how social media is actually helping that happen. So let me share the story with you.
Yes.
There's a 90-year-old woman, and she had given away, 63 years ago, she had given away her 1-month-old daughter for adoption. Now at 90, she so regrets giving away her daughter, and she seeks to be reunited with her. And this is now where social media is helping. Helping, according to the grandchildren of 90-year-old Chew Gyok King, this matter has been weighing on her mind. Now, Chew had to bring up 4 children single-handedly after her husband passed away, and so she did not have the capacity to look for this daughter. But of course, in another article, we also read about the fact that when her daughter was born, Chew fell ill, and a neighbor who was around and he knew about astrological signs or about palmistry looked at the palm of the little girl and said, maybe she's inauspicious.
Superstition.
Superstitious.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, whatever the reason, they made a decision and they gave up the girl. Now, Chew's husband left behind a handwritten letter after they gave this child away before his passing in 1964, according to their grandson Harapan Santoso Ong. And on November 24th, 1957, this couple left that little baby girl at a Catholic orphanage.
Which is now Chimes.
Yeah, which is now Times. And this has become the couple's greatest regret in life. And which is why Chew's husband wrote the letter in detail to give the information related to this incident. And I'd like to share with you a translated excerpt from the letter. It breaks my heart to know that barely a month after this poor girl's birth, that she had become the victim of superstition and hence lost the love of her mother. This is my greatest regret in my life as a parent. Hence, I am writing this as a record of this event. And now, to reunite the mother, the 90-year-old woman, with the daughter who'd be 63-year-old, they have put the decisions, all the relevant details on social media, that she was born in 1957, so she'd be 63 years old now. Her given birth name was Ong Seok Leng. You know, the last 3 numbers of her birth certificate are 804, and she's the 3rd child of the family. Her siblings are called Ong Seok Mui and Ong Kui Hong, and her father is Ong Se Thong, and her mother is Chew Gyok Keng, the lady who wants to be reunited. So it's just wonderful to see this very touching story, because we understand that the separation of a child from a mother is a very, very traumatic event. I don't think there's a huge debate here, but this is a wonderful side of social media, because they've posted it, we've read about it, and well, everybody is trying to find the 63-year-old daughter. So that they would be
it is such a terribly sad story, though.
healed.
I think that obviously this happened a lot more than back then. When people were superstitious and things like that. Hopefully, no one does things like this.
Well,
anymore.
actually, you're right, Gilbert. Long time ago, this was quite prevalent amongst the Chinese, including the Peranakan Chinese culture.
Yeah.
And I can tell you first-hand knowledge, man, because I've known of some of people who were actually offsprings of some other family. But normally what they do is that they actually adopt within their relations.
Yes, that's right.
And the children grow up
Happened
knowing.
in my family.
The children grow up knowing
yes.
that uncle and auntie are actually the natural birth parents.
Yes.
And that's really because of the superstitions.
Yeah.
And when they take a look at numbers, numerology, they take not just palmistry, also numerology, and how the mother reacts, But right now today with modern medicine, we probably nail that down to postnatal stress, And but back then, no one would know any better. So honestly, I don't really blame people of the day back then. I mean, people were more ignorant, people were more superstitious, and I wouldn't really blame them.
Yeah. No blame here. Just a sad situation,
But in this beautiful story of being united, I think there's also another part of it, which is, if you do find the daughter, if she is around and she does hear the call and she does come forward, I think ultimately the choice also should be hers.
Of course,
Because,
whether she
you
wants
know,
to.
I mean, whether she
Yeah.
wants to. Because
Yeah.
as much as the mother wants to heal, we don't know how this 63-year-old woman feels
Yes.
about the
Yes,
situation.
that's right.
So,
Yep.
yes, let's
Very
hope it all
often,
turns
though,
out well.
in cases of adoption, it is the child who knows that they are adopted who wants to find the parent.
Correct,
It's not the
correct.
other way around usually.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit unusual.
Yes.
But of course, speaks to the larger issue of adoption, which I think is a wonderful thing because, there are many adopted children who are given happy lives and I can only imagine the trauma of having to give up a child. I can't even imagine that,
No, but this trauma stayed with her for 63
yeah,
years.
obviously.
Stayed with the husband.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now when you feel you're at that age where you might be gone at any time.
Why do you
want
think
to
there's
heal.
trauma? This older lady now, she's an old lady now, right? 63 years old. Okay, not old because you're not old.
Oh,
Okay, this is
no,
more
no,
senior
cool.
person now.
Yeah.
It's more senior person now.
He cackled. Yeah.
And
He loves to
I'm cackling
Yes.
again. Okay,
Yes.
so she may have had a good childhood. She may have been, adopted by a good family. She may have been
No, I'm
raised
talking
well.
about trauma on the mum side.
No, we're
Yeah,
talking about the
exactly.
trauma,
So
mom's side,
the
yeah.
trauma is more the mommy, right?
Yeah, obviously.
No, but
yeah. And
Chris,
very
it's
often
not,
in adoption
it's
cases,
not
Yeah.
that,
it is
no,
that.
but look, I beg to differ because sometimes just the knowledge that you were given away because
Yes.
you brought ill health, you brought bad luck. That is a very big
No,
But
no,
she
no.
may
There's
have
there-
brought-
weight
yeah.
to
She-
carry on
Yeah.
your
but,
shoulders.
but she may have brought good health and good luck to the
No, I
adopted
know,
family.
But
Yeah.
but what I'm trying to say is yes. But when you were given away, and if she did know about
she was
it,
a month old.
Right.
What
Yeah.
would she know?
But then maybe
Yeah.
then we can also look at another situation where maybe she didn't know at all about the adoption.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. No,
yes.
she
And
knows.
now,
But
no,
if
at
you-
Uh-huh.
63, at
Why not?
63,
Yeah.
you suddenly hit with the idea as in this couple that I loved, I adored, I thought were my parents.
Okay, Daisy.
Weren't.
Daisy,
So
let me
there's a
ask
lot
you.
No,
of
that is always-
dimensions.
Let me ask you. Okay, you are a senior person. Okay,
Yes, yes.
if you discovered today that you were adopted, how would you feel?
Oh, it is not so simple. It is a complicated answer.
No,
I
how
don't
would you
think-
feel? Not think. How would you feel?
Well, like I said, there would be overwhelming emotions of all kinds.
Mm-hmm.
You could feel a
Why?
sense-
The big
No,
reason
yeah,
is
no,
why were you given away?
That's the biggest,
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I wasn't good enough.
But after
Why
all
did
these
they
years,
want
you're-
to love me? Why did they
No,
have
but
to
if you
be
actually
away?
hear what adopted children say when they discover that they are adopted,
Mm.
very often nowadays, which I think is a good thing, parents tell their
Tell
children
the
very
kids,
early.
absolutely, yeah.
But for those who have, I've read a lot about this because I have friends who are adopted and I have friends who have adopted children, is that they say that there often is a question they want to know why they were given away. That's always the prevalent thing. They want to know why they were given away. And they feel incomplete. They feel like they want to reach out and get to know their birth parents and family.
I think also there's more to it because it also depends on the parents who have adopted you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are just assuming that the couple that adopted is wonderful and you've had a great life, which maybe in most cases it is.
Mm-hmm.
But there are enough cases where it's not the case.
That's
You
also
have
an
your
assumption.
own-
Yeah.
That's also an
there's
assumption.
So I'm
so
just
many
saying that there are
complicated,
definitely possibilities on both
emotions,
sides,
yeah.
and it is up to the daughter whether or not she wants to be reunited.
Correct.
Well, if I'm 63 years old and I'm told
But
I'm
you're not,
adopted,
Chris, you're young.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I mean, if you're whatever.
if
Yes.
I'm 63 years old, still looking this damn good, and I was told that I'm adopted, I think I'll be fine. I'll be a little I'll be shocked to hell, but yeah, if I've had a great childhood, I was raised well, you
Yeah.
know,
If,
and
yeah.
and
Correct. That's
and
what I'm saying. There's so many.
I
factors.
wouldn't
So many
blame
factors,
my
yeah.
adoptive
So-
parents.
So there's no
you
one
know?
rule that
Right.
applies.
I wouldn't
definitely.
blame them
Yeah.
at all.
No,
They
and-
love me all the same.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, of course.
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, that's the part. This assumption that I've had a great life. Oh yeah, you left me.
So yeah.
adopted.
Anyway, I hope that this resolves itself
In a
somehow.
happy
Yeah,
ending. All's well that ends
yeah,
well.
for people. So now we move on to another story, which is a bit more newsy. for the first time, anyone in Singapore who wants to can have a COVID-19 test taken. Most people may not know this, but prior to this, you could not take a COVID-19 test if you were asymptomatic. You could only take it if you actually showed symptoms. But now, if you need to take it for whatever reason, you can for $200. This would be the PCR test, which detects the genetic information of the virus itself. So
It's a PCR test.
it's one of the kinds
The
of
thing
tests.
that goes in your
That's
nose.
a swab.
That's a swab. Yes.
So this is not the swab.
It's not a swab. Yes.
But is it
So
is
where
it is
is-
it is it accurate without the thing going
Yes,
up your
it
nose?
is. It is accurate because it is not detecting the virus. It's looking for the antibodies that your body produces.
Wait. I remember there was an episode I was asking this stupid question. I'm going to ask the same stupid question again. So, have we progressed from that stupid thing in the nose to an alternative way of testing for the virus?
The fastest way is still
the
up the
stupid thing
nose.
in the nose.
So this $200, it's not for the stupid thing in the nose.
No, it is to do the actual PCR test. Which
What the heck is a
detects-
PCR
yeah,
test?
thing. Well, you can read about it here. But
Hello,
yes,
Henson, tell me lah. What's a PCR test?
No, it detects the antibodies that your body produces.
Oh,
Not
it's a blood test, right?
yes.
Oh, it's a blood
Yes,
test.
yes,
Say
yes,
lah,
yes.
blood
Yeah,
test.
That's what he's asking.
I just want to double check because there are different
Okay.
kinds
Yeah,
of
yeah.
tests basically here.
So basically, it's
Yeah.
in the blood, and
It's
only
ca-
when they test
it's
that,
called
they
the
know
polymerase chain reaction test.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's accurate.
So it is accurate because when you get exposed to a virus, your body automatically produces an antibody to try and fight the virus.
Right.
So if you have got the antibody, that means to say you'll be exposed to the virus. This is exactly how HIV test is done.
Correct.
Okay, so now I'm just, my stupid brain is just not working. So just going to ask this. So if someone say, for instance, is not asymptomatic, he's got classic symptoms, so he's got to be urgently tested.
Okay.
So why not get? It's still going to be a nose swab, right? For this kind of people.
I have
who-
to actually look in this. I haven't read in great detail, so I don't want to be wrong about this here.
Just giving you
know.
material for the next
But, yeah.
episode of your
But
own show.
I think the question here basically is: should you get yourself tested? My feeling
if you
about
are
it
asymptomatic,
is
Asymptomatic.
asymptomatic.
asymptomatic,
Yes.
Thank you.
asymptomatic. The
Asymptomatic.
point is that you do not show symptoms.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think the whole idea is, I think that if it's available and there are companies, for example, who want their employees to go for the test, if there are multinationals, there are educational institutions, and they truly feel that they want to take the next step towards being secure, towards being safe, yes, if this test is available and they are willing to pay the $200 per test, I think they should just go for it. I think it's a good move.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to understand is, if let's say someone is not asymptomatic,
Someone
does
is
he?
not
He's
asymptomatic.
ordered to go for a test. Am I right? Whether it's a nose swab or a
Yeah.
PCR.
PCR. Right.
Okay. Does he have to pay?
No, because if he's got symptoms, then the government will pay for it.
Ah,
No.
okay.
So that's the question. If you have symptoms, the government takes a minimum fee. If you do not have symptoms, but you yet, for the sake of safety or for your own personal desire to remove your anxiety or whatever reason, would want to take that test to find out that even though I do not show symptoms, do I still have any kind
Right.
of... then you pay
Okay.
$200, which I yet think is reasonable if you really believe that you want to be tested.
You pay $200.
No, you know why? And this is the very big point. If you're in a country like the United States where it is so rampant, I mean, in millions of cases, chances of community transmission are very, very high. Then I would be more careful. If I'm going to be visiting my old grandparents or whatever it is, I want to make sure I'm negative, then I would do the test. But in Singapore, thank God, knock wood, that the number of cases is so few, the chances of you having it are really, really low.
But Gilbert, you're looking at it as an individual. I'm talking about if I was a corporate, if I was somebody who had a big business, if I was, let's say, into education and I wanted my 10 teachers to be tested and I was willing to pay for that just to be even more safer. I mean, that's the call that these corporates or multinationals or health institutions,
Sure.
educational.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
As an individual,
But
it's
again,
very different.
but even for a company, you would not necessarily need to get your people tested if the number of community cases in Singapore is so low.
True.
That's the point,
True.
basically. It doesn't make sense. Let me
But
correct
let's
myself
say-
because I had to double check on this. The PCR test, which is the one given in Singapore, is not the antibody test.
Okay.
The antibody test is the blood sample. I was
Correct.
correct in that
Blood
sense.
sample, yeah.
The PCR test, the $200, is the swab because that one is testing for the antigen, not the.
So it's $200 to have that thing shoved up,
Shoved up your nose.
my nose.
You know, you should watch a video I posted on Health Zone on Facebook, which shows where it goes. It doesn't go into your brain. It actually goes to the back of your throat. That's where it goes. That's bigger sample. Because
even worse.
when your nose goes like that, when it goes into like that, right? It's actually going through your nose to the back of your throat. And so you feel the tickling at the back of your throat. So it's the same as you putting your finger in the back of your throat. That's where it's reaching. So it doesn't go up your brain or anything.
Thanks.
like
Now
that.
you're really screwing me up now.
So
I mean, I don't mind it going up to my brain because there's a lot of space before it actually reaches my brain. You know.
Well,
what I'm saying?
actually, there's a bone there that would
Yeah.
stop you
No, but
from.
for
So that
those-
you can have a
no,
you
but
have a
Chris-
you have a boner
So-
here to
Chris, for
stop
those
Steve.
kind of
think you
brains, this gap that you have, there are different kind of swabs, which really go deeper inside.
How?
Don't think they'll let you get away with it, baby.
You can't see me now, but I'm actually crossing my legs under the table. Okay.
I think
All
we've
right.
reached the end of that one subject, basically. Now we've, gone from science to science fiction.
Boldly go where no
Okay.
swab has gone
But
before.
Yes.
now we are
exactly.
going
No
to
one
be
wants
moving
to
on
that.
to
Now we're going to
different
go on to a
kind of
different kind of
cases,
test,
yes.
basically, which is the HIV. Now, obviously, this is a very serious disease and illness that has been around for generations and decades, right? Starting out in the 1980s and has killed millions of people.
Yes.
The interesting thing about HIV, obviously, first of all, the point we're talking about here is that there were 220 new HIV cases that were reported among Singaporeans in the first 10 months of the year. And that, this is of concern for several reasons. And I'll just go over this very quickly. First of all is that the majority of them were men. And most were below 60 years old, 42% aged between 40 and 59. And 54% of them had late-stage HIV when they were diagnosed, which is an increase from 49% from the same period last year. Why is this important? Because it shows that they've been positive for several years before it reaches late stage, and they've not been aware of their status. And, in the early years, I remember when it was still around, a lot of people were hankering for a test. And when they did come out with the test, a lot of people went for the test because,
Yes.
you want to know,
Yes.
But since the treatments have improved so much that it's no longer an automatic death sentence, that you can actually live for many decades with this, taking the medications,
Yeah.
the kind of seriousness in the mind of people has fallen.
Yes.
And several things about this statistics actually are quite interesting. Very often, for lots of reasons, people think of HIV as a predominantly gay men's disease, all right? But if you actually look at the statistics, 46% were from homosexual transmission, 40% were from heterosexual transmission, and 10% from bisexual transmission. So it's almost equal, 46 to 40%. So people should not think it's a gay thing. Secondly, people are not getting tested. That's one of the things there, is that these people who were detected because they went for medical checkups that they needed to go for, not because they went specifically for HIV testing.
But then,
So that's an important thing.
I'd just like to ask you a question, because we were talking about asymptomatic. So, are we looking at a situation where the person who has contacted HIV does not feel anything or does not have any symptoms, that they do not get themselves tested for such a long time?
Yes. Well, okay. You can have HIV without any symptoms, definitely.
Right.
But when you get late stage and the symptoms start to show, then it moves from HIV to AIDS, and that's a problem because then the symptoms come very, very big and very fast, and you have a lot of issues to deal with there. and you really need to get the treatment because this antiretroviral treatment for HIV is amazing. I mean, I remember in the early years when they were looking for treatments, and then they started this multiple drug therapy. There was AZT, but it was very toxic. And now, it's much more advanced medication. It works really well. People, you just take one pill a day rather than, 50.
But is that the reason, because of medication being available, because of costs becoming cheaper, because of just the whole dread of the disease has receded, that people are getting a bit more lax about their lifestyles and going back to the way it was before?
Yes, despite all the information about safe sex, because this is the thing, okay? We know how to prevent HIV.
Okay.
That's the thing. So there should not be anyone catching HIV because we know how to
I think the scary bit here, is what our producer actually wrote in the set of talking points that's given to us for this episode. He said that it is quite shocking that some people he's spoken with, the young ones especially, didn't know what HIV was and how it spread.
Yes.
But it's also interesting to note the statistics, Gilbert, what you raised about heterosexuals not being far behind from homosexuals in terms of those who've contracted HIV. Yeah. And I think it's really, you're right, unfair to just, gay people, they spread HIV. That's absolute bollocks, right?
Yes.
So, and that's good because statistics are like a pair of Speedos. Okay. What they reveal is suggestive. What they conceal is vital. Put it on stomp. Okay.
Yep. But there definitely needs to be more awareness of this.
But see,
especially among younger people. And
when I listened to you saying that, okay, the young people do not know what HIV is, it just struck me that wouldn't it be fantastic that one day the young people would not know what COVID was? Or that we went through this.
Only if it really has disappeared. But, as we know, if you look at the history of the world, viruses don't disappear.
Yeah.
Only one has.
The moment it stops being such a big issue,
but
it sort of recedes.
Yes, but the problem though, Daisy, also, right? The problem is that this is not receded and people don't know about it.
I think
so that's the danger.
Guys,
so that's where you need education.
Exactly. This is where I'm going to say this because if it is shocking that if young people today have not even heard about HIV, it's shocking.
It's shocking.
So I would just like to say, come on, abstain, from having sex with multiple partners. And at the same time, if you really have to,
have safe sex.
If you really have to have safe sex, put on a condom, put on a tiger balm, put another one on top of that. Okay.
Okay.
And
we're going to science fiction again.
Yeah.
I think that several things need to be said here.
Things. Somebody out there
with
this tiger balm and Chris Henson, you won't hear the end of it.
And then then Chris can share his own experience with tiger balm on his condom and what happened there, basically. So
it was a joke for all you dumb dingbats who probably
thousands
take
of people
this
hear this
bloody seriously. Okay,
that's the thing.
Don't put tiger balm. Okay, tiger balm is good for your aches
so I
and
think
stuff.
that it's very important because what Daisy said earlier is a point, is that because the dread of this disease has dropped so much, people don't talk about it as much, people don't think about it as much, but it has not gone away. Viruses are very insidious things. And let me just say this, okay? Every year, a lot of people, millions of people, still die from AIDS.
But
around the world.
But for this, Gilbert, really, there has to be continuous education. There has to be information.
Yes.
Not that, okay, this threat is gone, let's move on.
Let me just say this also, okay? Not long ago, when there were education attempts to educate people about safe sex,
right?
There was a lot of backlash from conservative groups saying that if you teach people about safe sex, you're encouraging people to have sex. And there's no such thing as absolute safe sex. So, which again, I think is just nonsense.
But I remember that shot. I just watched Crown on Netflix, and then it was during that time when Princess Diana.
Yes.
Because there was this whole misconception that it can spread.
Yes,
through
exactly.
Touch and the
Yes.
fear,
People treated it like as if they had the plague.
Yes.
So let's just put it this way: it has not gone away. It is still there with us. It is still something that we need to be careful about. COVID gets a lot of attention, rightly so, because worldwide it's a terrible thing. But right here in Singapore, more people have died from dengue,
Dengue, yes.
than from COVID, or at least equal number now, I think, So these things are there. Just take care. And
Just be aware.
and I think that organizations or the government needs to do another campaign about HIV awareness, because this is
I
important.
think society needs to just loosen up and learn how to talk about sex.
Yes.
And not shy away from it.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
there will be people out there that will not be able to keep whatever they have in their pants. You
Yes,
know what I'm
yes,
saying?
exactly.
So, and then if they can't do it, then they got to at least learn what safe sex is all about. So society must learn how to not be, not to be so embarrassed to talk about sex.
Yes,
I mean, we all
absolutely.
got to have sex
And
in order
this-
for kids to be born. Anyway.
Exactly. And this belief that if you talk about it, it means your children are going to do it and people are going to do it more, is just absolute
but
nonsense.
on-
Because education is key.
Correct. On that point, that's what I say, that if we don't take responsibility of what happens to our society, then no amount of independence can improve the human condition. You have to take responsibility.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'm supposed to end the show, guys.
Yes.
So let's hear from Daisy.
I think she gave a quote.
Yeah. Let's hear
No,
from Daisy to
just-
close
I
the show.
Just want to say that, when we talk about, like we've been talking about subjects of these pictures being taken, somebody running around half naked, or I just feel that the world howls for social justice. But when it comes to social responsibility, you sometimes can't even hear the crickets chirping. And this has been said by the artist Dean Koontz. And it is so correct, because we just talk a lot about irrelevant things. But when it is about your responsibility to make sure that the vaccine goes to countries or to people who can't afford it, whether it is about knowledge about the about AIDS and about COVID, we should take social responsibility. So I'd like to end on that.
Okay.
Dean
very good.
Koontz, man.
Yes. Mine is not a poetic quote. Mine is a little bit of science, which I think goes to what we were talking about earlier. And I just want to make this quick plug. When we talked earlier about how some people don't want to teach the children about sex, there is another thing here which really I think is very important, is that there's a vaccine called the HPV vaccine. It is 99 to 100% effective in preventing the human papillomavirus.
Papillomavirus.
Yes, papillomavirus, which leads to cancer, can lead to cancer later on.
Cervical cancer.
Cervical cancer, as well as oral cancer and anal cancer. And if you know that you have a vaccine that can protect your children, you would make sure your child gets it, right? No, in Singapore, the uptake is very, very little, because they need to get the vaccine before they're sexually active. So very often, parents are told, have your child do this before puberty, or just as they're entering puberty. And a lot of parents are horrified by the very idea that the children are going to have sex. So they say, no, I'm not going to have this, because if I let my child have this vaccine, it means my child is going to have sex. And this is a terrible, stupid thing, because this is a vaccine that can save your child's life in the future.
This is excellent.
Hey,
information.
Singaporeans,
Yes.
your
Excellent.
kids are not going to be virgins forever.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay?
So, on that bit of science, I'll pass it to Chris to close. But please, if you're a parent of a teenager, make sure your child goes, both male and female, get this vaccine. It does not mean they're going to go out and have sex tomorrow. You can't stop them from having sex eventually, and this can save their lives.
They
The
will have sex
HPV
one day.
vaccine.
They will have sex one day.
Yes.
And this is how I'm going to end the show. I have a quote from the hit song from this bunch of rappers from some time ago, and they are Salt and Pepper. And the song is Let's Talk About Sex.
Let's talk about sex, baby.
Well done.
Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about
All the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex.
baby. So see, cool grandma knows the song.
Don't be coy, avoid, or make void the topic, because I ain't gonna stop it. Let's tell it how it is and how it could be, how it was, and of course, how it should be.
So let's talk about
Sex.
baby.
Here we go. And that's about it for this episode of In
know
Our
any Kenny
Humble
Rogers?
Opinion. Kenny Rogers, bloody roast chicken, you.
Okay.
Anyway.
My kind of music.
What?
Thank you.
What? You got nowhere to hold him. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's it for this episode of In Our Humble Opinion. Please do like, share, subscribe. You kidding me, man? You really kidding me? You really playing it now?
Through the years.
Oh God.
Okay, thank you so much. Namaste. We shall
Yes,
see you
like,
next
share, comment, subscribe. And this has been In Our Humble Opinion. Stay safe, everybody.
And we're gonna jive now.
Oh,
Let's
and by
talk
the
about
way,
sex.
Gilbert's going to be in his Speedos tomorrow at M38 upstairs
I gotta
rooftop
make this
swimming
music
pool. Come
louder.
down and take a
Oh my
picture.
God,
Bye-bye.
this guy.
Talk about sex.